burn.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's call the City of Oak Hill Charter Review meeting to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Gerard Welch.
Here.
Charlie Dean.
Here.
Barry Cummings.
Here.
Kira Werning.
Here.
Ron Engel.
Yep.
Richard Taylor.
Here.
Derwin Smothers and Tom Pence are absent. They called in and left messages.
Do we know if Mr. Smothers is okay or reason for?
He had a death in the family.
Sorry for that.
Get back.
Yes. Out of country. All right. I think in the email there was if they had any questions or anything to email us.
Yes, I only heard from Mr. Pence.
Okay.
And I think I forwarded that to him.
Any
Yes.
questions?
He just had an issue with how something was worded.
Okay, gotcha. But nothing toward
No.
today. Okay. All right, very good. All right. First, we got D, consent agenda minutes for April 10th. Has everyone reviewed the minutes?
I haven't got them.
So they were
Were they email?
Yeah.
I didn't get them. I don't.
That's okay. Let me look.
How many needs copies?
Might I suggest then that we move this to the next agenda so that we're not wasting time waiting for everyone to read through the minutes?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, also, Jerome, I don't know if it had been brought to your attention, but the February 28th minutes, Erin had never done them, and she was going to do them. And then she left, so just so you know, they're not done. Okay, just to give you a heads up and let you know.
While we're at a little lull here, I will be absent on the 15th and the 22nd. I'll be gone out of town on them two meetings.
Thank you so much.
Or,
I appreciate you.
I will be absent the 15th and the 22nd of May.
And I'll be absent on the 22nd of May, unless I can make it back from Kissimmee in time. But I won't hold my breath. I will try, but just in case.
All right, you want to table the minutes until next week where everyone has time to review it?
I'll make a motion to table minutes of April the 10th till the next.
That's fine, I'll second it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
All right, we have a few guest speakers here today to help answer any questions we might have for subjects of city manager, city administrator, or any other particular questions we might have regarding this charter. Whoever would like to go first.
For the record, my name is Ken Parker. I'm a senior advisor for the Florida City County Management Association. It's good to be back with you. And I have provided you with a memorandum that sort of outlines some of the the questions related to forms of government, specifically trying to address the issue of city administrator and city manager. And that's primarily what the memorandum looks at. But let me just start with the discussion. A city administrator and a city manager are titles. Really, normally what you find in the city administrator is who is the appointing authority. Generally speaking, the appointing authority is not the council or the commission, with a city administrator. Normally, a city administrator is appointed by the mayor, and it usually is in a strong mayor form, although it could be in a weak mayor form. The power and the powers and the responsibility to a city administrator is that generally they do not have the full range of power or authority that a city manager would have underneath a charter. Okay, under the council manager form, the commission or the council is the appointing authority. Now they delegate their responsibility, they delegate responsibility for the day-to-day operation to the city manager. Okay, they are ultimately responsible for whatever occurs within the community. And then they hold the manager responsible for the day-to-day operation. Now, in your charter, okay, and I've provided you with 3 different things of charter. I've provided you with a copy of what is in your charter. Okay, that outlines the duties and responsibilities of your city administrator. Then I put in there what has been more of the traditional council manager powers and duties of a city manager. And the final one is what you would find in the National Civic League's model charter. And if you will look at your charter and the National Civics League charter, they pretty much track each other. Now, you do have a unique provision in O, but that's not a big deal.
We took that out.
Hmm?
That was the one we eliminated.
The one we eliminated?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know where you are, but O is sort of the uniqueness of, it was kind of a unique thing in your charter that you don't find in the National Civic League's model charter. So the middle one is probably what you would find in older charters from council manager form. The first one is yours and the second one is there. Okay, but the major difference is who appoints the administrator. That's the major difference. Okay, under what your charter, that group up there, all 5 of them,
Right.
are responsible for appointing the administrator, and they are responsible for holding that individual responsible for the day-to-day operation of the city.
Now, that's administrator or manager?
Doesn't make any difference.
Okay. The reason
So
I was asking
it's-
is because the city council, the councilman, they're the one that they voted to appoint Jerome. And he's an administrator. And I thought I'd heard you say at the beginning that
did.
the administrator was appointed by the mayor.
No. Okay, that is the major differential in titles, normally. Okay, let me just say that. Normally, when you see the title administrator, it is tied to a mayor-council form.
Okay.
Okay. However, all across this country, I can take you and show you administrators who are operating under council manager form. It's a title. It's a job title. So don't, I told Jerome that early on. I said, sometimes titles mean a lot within a community. Okay. But, so, you know, whether it's a manager or administrator, really where you need to be focusing is on the duties that are outlined in your charter related to what is the responsibility of each.
I'm sorry, I have a question. If I understood what you've just said, that the administrator does not have a full range of authority under the charter, and the manager delegates the day-to-day responsibilities to the commission.
No.
If that's the case, and we're looking at our current charter, because I think our biggest question that I've listened to all of us say is we need to know whether he would be an administrator or a manager. If I'm listening correctly, and I know it's just a matter of semantics and a word, you are indicating from that what we're looking at in ours is more of the title of manager rather than administrator. Would that be a correct thing
That
to
would be
say?
a correct statement.
Thank you.
And
That's-
just from the standpoint, okay, you really track the National Civic League's definitions. If you go through and you compare the two, okay, you're tracking right down almost, okay, letter for letter what they have placed in their model charter for a manager.
Okay, I got a question. What would be the difference if it was a commission-based charter as opposed to a commission administrator charter?
Okay, now you're talking about the commission form?
Yes.
Okay, commission form is that, okay, technically, the commission sits as an elected department head on the commission form.
Okay,
Okay, now, normally under that, they are operating, one operating department is under their control and under their direction.
is there any reason as a commission form that you can't turn around and say, as a commission form of government, we're asking Jerome to manage all of the departments, but definitely have to come back to us for approval for,
That's what you're talking about, it's not a commission form.
okay?
Because, okay, when the body sits, okay, I want you to think about is that you would be, let's say, for example, you've only really got 2 departments, okay, in this city right today.
Right.
Okay, so if you are the Public Works Commissioner,
Okay.
you're the Public Works, you're in charge of Public Works. There is not there is not an administrator, you are the administrator.
Okay,
Okay, then there's the finance administrative side of the house, which would be normally your finance people, your purchasing and all that. You would have a commission person that they are that department head.
okay,
Okay, then when they sit as the collective body, then they are the governing body. So you're thinking about that they would all be department heads. They would all have equal standing. Okay, and probably the only one they would appoint then would be the city clerk and the city attorney. There would not be a central administrator in the deal.
And you said we only have 2 departments. I got a question now. Would not one of the commissioners be in charge of public safety, like law enforcement? Because we do contract that out. But right now, I don't know really who is in charge of that contract.
Okay, your city administrator is in charge of administering that contract.
Okay, but would not one of the commissioners be in charge of that?
No.
If that was, because that is a department
Okay,
within.
No.
okay,
Let
it's,
Mr. Parker answer,
okay, all right, okay.
That's common sense.
Okay, normally at that point in time, now you're under contract administration,
Right.
which is a function of finance.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay,
So there would be, okay, so if you think about it from that standpoint, is that it's just an elected department head.
and that's what I wanted to know, because, so you'd have finance, no matter what other contracts you had that was out, they would all fall under the finance contract. That's what I wanted to know for
Yeah.
sure.
You know,
Okay.
Okay, so, so just think about it as an elected department head. That's all the commission form is. It's elected department heads that when they come together, they then sit as the governing body. There are, I think, 2 in the whole state of Florida today.
And the reason I guess the reason I'm asking him questions is because whenever I was on the commission, which has been 20 plus years ago, the solid waste, okay, was a department it was a contract, but the department, I was the department head on that, as it was a contract. Okay? And that's the reason I was asking that question, is because back then, we were a commission-based government. And each one of us had a department at that point in time.
Yeah.
So now all that would fall under the finance department.
Yeah, they would be the administrator of that contract,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
contract administration. Okay, so just to look at, if you'll recall, when we started, we talked about basically there's the strong mayor council. Okay, definitely segregation of administration and the policy body. They don't have to agree. Under that, the mayor retains all of the administrative authority, has all of the appointment of employees. He handles all of those particular issues, okay, with no input except for adopting budgets and maybe, and personnel policies and things like that. Those items are not in the purview of the council, not in the purview. Okay, under weak mayor form, okay, weak mayor form is that generally the mayor is a member of the council, the governing body. Okay, retains some of that authority. Usually, a lot of times they will appoint an administrator, but the administrator does not. He or she only has the authority that is given to them by the mayor. Okay, so kind of think about it, is that when you move to what you have and what is the traditional manager form, is that it is all of the power and the authority is consolidated into your governing body. Okay, they are the appointing authority to your administrator or manager. The manager's list of what is his or her duties are specified in your charter, and what is not specified is retained by the governing body.
An attempt to cut to the chase. What we know we have. What's your recommendation? Where do we go?
Where you call it manager or administrator really makes no difference. My thing is that I told you before, I could take your charter right now, submit it to FCCMA, ICMA, and it would be a recognized council manager charter.
Thank you.
What would you recommend as a form so that the council has more accountability?
Your charter provides accountability.
We just don't have a commission that has it.
Okay, it sets it out real clear about accountability, and it sets out real clear, if you look at 6.02, and it goes into a lot of accountability of how they're going to hold that individual accountable.
But it's basically holding Jerome accountable for everything.
Now, no matter what, under whatever form you're under, it doesn't make any difference. It's really those five right there. No matter if you're under the mayor council form, okay, the voters are the ones that have to hold the elected officials accountable.
And that's been our issue, and the whole point that we've been talking is that the comments have been made that the commission we elect, we don't elect the employees per se, and how to hold the commission accountable.
Okay.
Well, the other side of that coin, and the positive side of it, is with a council manager form of government, there's typically less politics influenced in, as Oak Hill's going to grow, there's less politics influenced in who's hired and who's fired. And same thing is, depending on how that charter is set up, which is another area to look at, is how your administrator or manager, whatever you call them, is hired and fired. So for an example is I've seen charters where a majority of the attending council members at a meeting can fire,
I've seen other charters where it takes a minimum of 3, so if you only have 3 commissioners show up, that has a beef against your administrator or manager, it would take all 3 of them vote to fire them versus just 2 of them. So those are
And a
things,
minority.
so that's the other side of that coin is when the city grows, and there was actually back in, I think, 2019, there's 2 scholars out of North Carolina actually did a whole comparison of the manager versus the council manager form of government and compared to the mayor council form of government, and that showed less corruption in government. And typically you'll see when communities grow, and it seems to be somewhere between the 2,000, 5,000 population mark, you start to see that transition. And then when you get over 100,000 population, you see a lot of them switch back to kind of what they call a strong mayor form of government, but they, because you get more political influence there, but the whole council still has influence on hiring and firing the manager or the administrator, they call him at that time.
Yeah.
Same question, Jim.
And Oak Hill's growing. So this is a great time. I personally think it's a great time you guys are looking at this because you want to be ahead of that growth and not trying to react to it when it's too late. And you're getting water extended, and that's a sign of growth is coming.
Tracy,
Yes, sir.
Edgewater, if I was sitting there in the audience and I wanted to raise accountability for any one of those city commissioners, what would I have other than just a voice? Those city commissioners over there aren't allowed to go out and tell employees to reprimand them anything, right? They do not have any authority in the city of Edgewater to virtually do anything unless it's a public meeting, right?
Well, yes, to a degree. But also keep on the other side of that coin is, and you use that as an example, let's say 24,000 population. You're 1/24,000th of a shareholder. So can you imagine if every one resident had that kind of authority or jurisdiction to try to hold one council member? And out of 24,000 people, we get some interesting residents, if you will. They're not all balanced. So that's the purpose of a representative form of government. Is, they have to represent the greatest good for the greatest most. They can't represent the greatest good for this 1 or 2, or in some cases, 12 individuals of a town of 24,000 people. So that's that balance. And Oak Hill, and Oak Hill's, in my opinion, Oak Hill's no different than any other small community that's growing. It's what we call growing pains. Edgewater went through it as well. And every small community does. It's that change of mentality when a citizen no longer has a personal relationship with one council member or commissioner that is in charge of a department and can get their pothole fixed quicker than someone else that doesn't have that relationship. And that's just a balance, and that's something give and takes of growth. So I mean, it was a long answer. But Ken Mr. Parker is absolutely correct, which is Mr. Parker is an icon in the industry and was a great mentor of mine and a great resource of mine when I come up through. But that's just change in growth, and those are positive changes.
So basically what you're saying is it doesn't matter if he's called an administrator or a manager, it's in the job description period.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And
is there any reason in the charter that it can't say city administrator / manager?
Nope.
Okay.
You could have city administrator / manager, city clerk. You could do anything because your manager also is designated by your charter as a clerk.
Well, that's true.
It's not a common term in the industry. You could be a CEO. It's just, it's like Mr. Parker has shared, is what authorities to delegate. And you certainly want the majority of the council that selects and fires because,
That's right.
every 2 years, or I guess you guys are on a 4-year cycle on your elections, or 2 years still? 4. So every 4 years, those seats can change, or if they leave early, sooner than that. So you don't want, one person to have that autonomous of authority. And the same thing is, you want for less political influence, as your community grows and your employees are going to grow, is, you don't want someone's job to be in the, on an unstable ground because of an election. They hired and fired by your administrator, your manager, or whatever you call it.
Right. As you recall, your city attorney, when he made that presentation, he talked about the issue of a commission form, or actually the Lake Kellen, who has an administrator form, and all personnel items had to go to the governing body. And he said that is a nightmare.
And here's another example to think about. You know, as you grow, you want your elected bodies, you know, that's legislation. It's an analogy I used to use all the time. You want them to be able to look up and out, and your administrator, your manager looks down and in. So they take care of yesterday's problems. They help the council plan for future, and so they look down and in to keep things going. And you want your commissioners to be planners, visionaries, to look forward on legislation, and you don't want them caught up in the minutia of fixing yesterday's problems. That's that guy's job.
That goes back again to, we've had some discussion about accountability. I think that argument is over. It's not, doesn't really make any sense anymore.
It's in the battle box, is how you hold them accountable. And same thing at the meetings, you know, you try to partner with them and influence change that you want them to change, but yeah, you hold them accountable at the battle box.
What other questions you have of Tracy and I?
I got one. We haven't really discussed one issue I've been waiting to kind of bring up, and that's in regard to decorum that may be possible in city council type meetings. I don't see anything in our charter that gives any one city commissioner the authority to basically boot somebody out if they're disruptive. Do you have anything in your charter, Edgewater, that specifically, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, and you're right. When I was with Edgewater, we didn't have anything like that. So we adopted policies that they adopted by resolution. So it not only walked through very detailed how that process is handled, but it also walked through of how a commissioner is excused. So, you know, there's times I work with commissioners that just went AWOL and you didn't see them for 6 months and there was nothing that addressed it. So, so if you ask Edgewater, it's a very detailed policy, and we put a lot of work and study into that. And then, like I said, it also talks about decorum at the meeting, you know, so, you know, the mayor runs the meeting. So if someone is disruptive and the mayor's not addressing it, then a commissioner can address the mayor, and if another commissioner, you know, sides with them, then they give direction. Same thing is under, you know, manager form of government, the mayor couldn't direct the police chief to have someone removed because the police chief worked for me. So the mayor, part of that policy, the mayor would address me. So, city manager, can you have the police chief? You know, I could have disregarded his order, but it's not the smart thing to do. But then I would have to tell the police chief someone to remove.
I'm sure you attend meetings where people are whatever. We've only had it here a couple of times. One was a drunk lady, and one was another one. They both got booted out. And we went to chaos here because of how it all happened.
And that's a balance that Tom and I'll share with you is when I got brought into the manager role there is it was chaos. Council member meetings were full. You know, everyone canceled the comedy channel because they could come to the council meetings at the time and they could raise Cain, and everyone else would say, hey, if they're at the podium and raise Cain, I can too. Because the council would argue back with them, and they'd go on for hours, and you know, 10 minutes after the bell rang and they had to sit down, nobody changed their mind. So, you know, I talked to the council. I said, everyone's actions anticipating your reaction. I said, if you argue with them, they'll argue as long as you can. I said, give them their 3 minutes, let them talk, you don't have to respond, they sit down. It becomes boring and they fade away because they're no longer leading the council. You know, and that's part of the psychology spiel.
We don't have that issue here.
I walk up, I stick my hand out, and you reciprocate, I'm controlling. And that's the same thing, those folks come up to the podium and I would teach them. I said, they're there for 1 or 2 reasons, destructive or constructive. If they're there for destructive, give them the 3 minutes, and, you know, they'll go away. Don't respond to them. If they're there for constructive, those are the ones you partner with because they want to make a difference. So part of that is just, you know, how you address it. And as long as they get their way when they come to the commission meeting and they either get attention by escorted out or you argue with them, that's fun. They come back and everyone else comes to watch.
So we wouldn't do it here. Jerome would have the ability to compose some language and propose it as a
How many commission meetings, Ron, have you ever seen where it has been a brawl or a mayhem where you feel somebody needs to be removed?
Fire and police department?
I sure was here.
It doesn't hurt to have a policy, and if you don't need it.
We
ahead of
have a
time.
sheriff who comes to our, well, to some of our
Okay,
meetings.
going back to his
But that's the
question,
past.
most cities have now gone through and adopted a decorum policy. Okay, and because it sets out how the meetings will be conducted, it sets out the rules of basically how they will interact with each other, as well as how they will interact with the audience and in things like that. In the decorum policy, as Tracy had discussed, usually is a section concerning citizen participation, how the citizens will, how long will they be able to discuss, and there's a whole set of things that are usually in that policy, but that's adopted by the governing body. Okay, it's very rarely included in your charters. I have not seen it in charters at all.
I haven't, because remember, every time you do a charter, it has to go back to
The voters.
your citizens to vote. So you want some of that fluid. And I even in the forum policies, clear down to prohibits commissioners to text during the meeting, so they don't have people out in the audience, feed them information and back and forth. So.
Like we,
So but that is the internal policy
Correct.
of the commission about how they're going to conduct their business and how they're going to conduct relationships between each other and between them and the audience.
okay, one other quick question. I know that the charter has to go before the voters, obviously, to be voted upon, and it goes on the ballot. Every single line that we change in the charter has to go on the ballot, or is it in general?
Okay, I would imagine your attorney is going to need to talk to you about that one because that is a legal issue and those are set out by state law. I'm not going to wade off into that one. I'll let Scott wade into that one.
Okay.
Because in some initiatives, they're limited by the number of words.
Words, and there's a bunch of other things.
Well, in other words, what I'm saying, let's say we completely revamped Jerome's job description. So does every line of his job description now have to go on to a ballot? Or does it just basically say, in accordance to?
I don't see what job description is in the charter.
Right, well, it's
is.
what I think what she's talking about is the duties.
The duties, so it's basically his job description.
Okay, I'm going to defer that to Scott because that is a legal issue and how it's got to be placed on the ballot and limitations that go onto the ballot and things like that. So I don't want to give you the wrong information.
Okay, one other quick question. You had mentioned in one of your first sessions that you were here that under the charter review part of it, that Charlie had brought up ours goes to the commission. If the commission doesn't like what we've said and done, they can throw the whole thing out. And basically what we've done here was for naught. Okay.
Wasted your time.
Right, exactly. Okay, but you had brought up something about in the county charter that it would go to the commission for there to make review and kind of say, well, I don't really like this or I don't like that, but that it then came back to the charter review committee to go over what their recommendations or comments were, but that the final decision rested on the charter review.
The county's charter has some of those provisions in it that are different than virtually any of the other municipalities. And again, you got to remember that was adopted in 1972. Okay, so it's actually the first county charter to be adopted in Florida. And that charter review commission at that time, when they placed it on the ballot, they retained that right to place items on the ballot. But the voters approved that.
Okay. Well,
Okay. And so so if your charter doesn't have it now, okay, it's still under the same limitations of that they have to put it on the ballot.
So the voter is empowered that charter review to do that, and you don't have that empowerment.
That's correct.
But if we made a change to our charter, the voters would vote on it,
Okay,
and then it would go into effect for the
that's correct,
future.
if the commission is
By ordinance.
agreeable.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay.
Nice of you to come see us.
And I apologize, I couldn't make it last week. Unexpected emergency.
Okay, okay, if we answered your questions, because Tracy is a great resource to,
Does anyone have any other questions about the city manager, administrator position, any duties, responsibility, questions, or anything else? I guess maybe even in our charter that we made changes on or had any questions about.
No, I think they wrote that pretty much the way I thought. I mean, the difference is not because whatever the duties say,
It's the
That's-
description.
That's
that's
it.
that's the description. You know,
Exactly.
I think me and Daryl both said that last meeting, you know. I've got title changes in my job before, but, you know,
Yeah.
my duties was the same.
Okay, one of the meetings that I was at, there was a question about, sitting at the table, with managers and administrator, does that make any difference? The answer is no. Okay, we still view all of them as colleagues, okay, and we realize that each city is unique and each city retains the authority and ability to call their person what they want to. So it makes no difference when he's sitting at the table with managers, or if he's at our state association. That's really not an issue with
So it
professional
isn't,
managers.
as a manager, he doesn't have privileges then to go to special meetings that only managers can go to,
No.
but administrators
Okay,
can.
no,
Okay,
from our perspective,
no,
okay,
okay.
he's entitled to be a member of our professional association. Okay, and if we took your charter and submitted it to say if it meets the requirements for to be what's called a recognized charter under council manager form, I'm confident that you would get it approved.
Ricky, I have a question. Do you know I would?
Yes.
And it's maybe for both of you. Until the 2014 changes in our charter, the charter was reviewed every 5 years, but that was changed. It was the 2009 charter that changed it to 10 years. And so it's basically what's in our 2014 charter. Do either of you see an advantage to switching that back to 5 years rather than 10, especially as you pointed out, considering the growth that's about to come here?
Are you sure it was 5 years? Because
It was.
it has to fall on an even year to go into election.
No, sir, it was 5 years. Would you
Okay,
like
I'm just asking. Because I know it has to go, if it's changed, it's gotta go on the ballot.
It was listed as 5 years in 1999. It was listed as 5 years in the 2004, and the notes I have from 2009 were 5 years. I have the actual. It's here, but I see where it was changed. Yeah, but the minutes changed. It was changed in this right here. In ordinance number 2008-01, it was changed to 10 years. Right there. And it's a city ordinance that was adopted 2008-01, and that's when they changed it. But I'm just asking if there's a value to going back to where it's rather 5 rather than 10 years for review, or a shorter term.
See, normal, I'll answer it from my perspective, and then I'll let Tracy say, okay, the commission at any time has the authority to call for a charter review at any period during that time. So they're not restricted on convening a charter review. The mandatory charter review, okay, kindly, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, the charter I worked under, it was a 10-year charter. It was mandatory. The counties is mandatory at 10 years. but it's not restricted to 10 years. In some, the county does not have a standing charter commission. Some cities have a standing charter commission that is appointed for that period, that 10-year period.
Oh, okay.
And I concur, that's what I say, as long as your charter doesn't prohibit any reviews in that time period. They may actually want to change one section of the charter and appoint someone to look at that, or the council. They don't even need a committee if they need this change. Let's say your borrowing limits are in there and you want to increase. But so because the other downside, the other side of that coin, if you will, is if you have it every 5 years, every time you bring a charter review commission together, they feel that they have to do something in a major something. So you could have a good charter, and if they get together every 5 years, they're changing something that is good and doesn't even change.
That was my question. Thank you. Okay. I'm done now, really.
Okay, I know in our agenda we have to review map of city, and then we also got review revised charter documents. And I would imagine it's the 2024 document that we don't prepare.
Tracy, you have to stay for the maps? Do you want
No.
to?
I'll stay for a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you both for being
So
here.
no, I enjoy wherever I can help in Southeast Volusia.
That's
So.
right. Same thing with me. Anytime you need me, and I know we'll speak for Tracy too, we're here as a resource.
All right, do we, instead of tying them up too long, we want to include them with the map along with.
So I need to leave shortly, so I
Okay.
have to do the maps before I go.
All right, can you take a look at the map real quick? You have that?
I emailed that to everyone else.
Yeah, I guess everybody was supposed to print it and bring it with them.
I don't know when I'm printer.
I
My
got a
printer doesn't
little
work.
tiny corner
Yeah.
of the city printed on my 8x12 sheet.
Yeah, I couldn't,
I couldn't print it.
mine was,
And so that is not the map that
I
was,
couldn't pull it open, I spread it out.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they were printing everything and having it set up for us when we should have, and then it kind
Which
of
it should be.
started creeping down to now, you gotta ask for it.
Should we talk about what the source that I came up with? So everybody-
yes.
Yes. For
That would be-
the mapping, when you talk to the county.
My purpose in going to the county is because obviously they do have a certified mapping department. The guy that's in charge of it, yeah, he's got some accreditations, all that kind of stuff. He wouldn't be there in charge of the department if he didn't. Anyway, he's responsible for producing maps throughout the county. And it's called GIS, Government Information Services. GIS started back in 1997, I think, in Orange County, 1985, somewhere in there. They had no clue, it didn't exist before that. We didn't have computers in Orange County back then. Anyway, it's progressed through the years. And the levels of accuracy are pretty much right up there. And GIS actually covers a number of different layers. Everything from jurisdictional things, flood zones, future land use, zoning, roads and streets, and there's a myriad of things that are included with GIS layers. I went to the county, met with the head Mucky Muck, and specifically asked if he had something. He said, yep, I got it. And supposedly I came in, talked to Jerome. Jerome sent an email to the county manager of GIS, and I got CC'd on it. And in my conversation with this department manager, I indicated that we're going through our charter page by page, word by word by word. And in our charter, it basically says map. Doesn't say future land use map, doesn't say a map from 2 months ago, a year ago, it just says map, basically. If he understood that. So if he sends us the map that shows our footprint with enclaves, all that kind of stuff, and has a date on it, has a author from obviously the county, that's what it is.
Did you ever see this one? Did we get this last week?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you weren't here last week, right?
No.
No, okay, so yeah, that was given to us last week.
Author, right there, Volusia County, GIS, 4924.
We do have the one you gave us last week, but Mr. Amos didn't get that particular one because he wasn't present.
Is this, oh no,
But
this is a different
one.
map. This is
a
different.
one, yes.
There's a date on this one.
That one has the date, yeah.
That's when I was in there. 49.
So,
This is actually this is printed on a large format printer, which we don't have. So it's going to be difficult to read. It has some of the street names and stuff on it.
Yeah.
So that's something I have to send somewhere to get to.
Yeah, we were able to kind of stretch it on the,
Take one and pass it out.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the date on there.
Okay, is it the same map?
pretty much, yeah.
It says city boundary, West
Yeah.
Line, Front Road.
It's pretty much the same map, it's just,
right in Edgewater, and I didn't make a I need to bring it. But
basically
today
it's the
has
same.
just been-
It's basically the same map, only you
Yeah.
can see that.
The only thing you could see on this one, you could see the street names a little bit better than you could on that one because of the dark green.
Yep.
Yeah.
I even have the color.
So since we're there, this is great. This map is great, Ron. Thank you. Would it then be, the best thing to do is to where it does say Appendix A, in that section, which I'm assuming this is where we're trying to make this change, the area described in Appendix A of this charter, would we then change that to say, would you include the map with the charter? Or would you take this and just make it a page that goes in? Or would you say map available in City Hall?
And that's what it says in the charter.
Right, so I mean, but we would change it to,
We would have
the area
to
described, it would be
picture
the map.
On that issue, I did reach out to Scott to see, map would suffice as the appendix A. He pointed me to the state, so I reached out to the state,
Okay.
and they have me going around in circles right now, trying to figure out what. It doesn't seem like a map would be, is what it comes down to. It looks like they actually want a written description of.
Written description. It is.
And so we're back to how do we get the full meets and bounds description, since the last one we have is from 1999.
Yeah, that's part of the GIS, would they have that, literature
No.
in there?
No, GIS is
Look
just-
at the computer.
GIS is just mapping. How do we fix it?
Hire a surveyor and have them survey it.
Can
Yeah, it's
Do-
about 50,000.
That would be
do we
very,
really need a picture of the boundaries in this chart?
no, the charter.
Okay, we need to just,
No, I think the question was, is in order for us to say that our city has the appendix A at the clerk's office.
We
In
have to
that
have
charter.
Appendix A.
yeah, but it don't need to be in there. It already says the area described in Appendix A in this charter shall constitute the corporate boundaries of the city of Oak Hill. Now, if somebody wants the city of Oak Hill, common sense will tell them, come see the man.
But they don't have it.
But they don't
They
have
don't
it.
have it,
That's
and the
what the
city
point
is.
attorney.
What I'm saying is, why you can't get one? It don't need to be in this charter.
No,
No,
well,
the map
The
itself
charter,
does
the
not.
charter says they
But-
are required to have it.
But I'm saying, let them get it. We don't need to add nothing to this,
No.
this
No.
section
No.
2-01.
No.
When we
The-
submit this charter to the city saying that there's the Bible, well, there's nothing to back it up because the city doesn't have it. So before we give this to the
Can
city
do
to
that.
sign off and vote on, they
Yeah.
can't vote for something that we don't have.
They
I think
can't vote
that's
for what doesn't
where
exist.
They were discussing.
Listen, hold up, listen. I see something down here in red,
yes.
okay? That means that we're gonna attempt to change something.
No.
Add something.
No,
That was there. I put it in red because our question is in red, where is Appendix A? That's the question we've been asking since day one. Where is Appendix A? That was one of the first questions I asked was, can you get us Appendix A just so we can know it's here? And that's why we're sitting here now having this discussion, because no one can find Appendix A, which describes the metes and bounds of the city and our corporate boundary.
And
And
the law
without-
requires us to have it.
The law
That'll change-
requires,
That'll change every annexation.
Yeah,
The meets and bounds changes every annexation. so
It
can't be
does,
solid in
but
Detroit.
it states in here that it,
What are you
that
suggesting?
it
Mr.
changes.
Jones?
Yeah, every time you do an annexation, you need to make, yeah.
it's in that section there under corporate
2.01.
boundary.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is currently in the charter, and what's in red is also currently a part of the charter.
So if this map could suffice, that would be fine, because it shows what the city is. But like you're saying, every time there's an annexation, it's changed.
Right.
It's going to change.
And it's gonna change.
It is going to change.
Yes.
And they,
And the change is if we have to go and do a lot of meets and bounds, we're gonna have to pay somebody to do it.
But
But-
Scott's telling you that we've gotta do that.
He's telling me to talk with the state and find out.
Okay.
I couldn't hear you say again.
He said I should refer to the state and let them just tell me if I need to have.
If the state will allow it.
Would you like it for me to be a part of that conversation? I love being in that part of
Ms.
that.
Barlow, how does Edgewater handle that matter, the Appendix A? Do they
Or
have
the
that in
corporate-
their charter?
I don't recall if it actually specified in the charter or may even says as amended. I've seen that before too, as amended. So you may have a basic there and then the as amended takes every time you do an annexation.
Well, ours says existing boundaries of corporate limits may be amended from time to time to provided by law.
so would you then be able to, if that, I'm sorry,
That's a Scott
I feel
question.
like my back. So would you theoretically, would we be able to take the area described in Appendix A shall constitute this and take that out and just say, just leave the beginning of that portion? Does that
That's
make
a Scott
sense?
question. I think he's referred to the state.
Yeah.
So they may
Okay.
want a basic and then as amended going forward.
Okay.
And then every 10 years that you do it, if you want to update it, then you could, then hey, here's
Okay.
as amended.
Or well, the way I think it should be, it's as the Appendix A, as of the date of the approved charter, okay? Then as you go through the rest of the year, Jerome, the city administrator, city manager,
As we
can update that ever so often.
Yeah, once a
I mean,
year or
once a
something.
year and put another one in there, but the one that charter will cover is the one that was as of the date of the charter. Because the way things are going around here, it's gonna change monthly. And, that's my opinion. And then you got your Appendix A in there and got a date on it, and you're done. That's my thought process. I
I
mean,
can go into the county 5 minutes before the charter is approved. 10 minutes later, I got one that's freshly printed. Does that suffice for you?
yeah, and
It's
it
what
don't
the
need to be-
lawyer says.
The map itself don't need to be in this charter. The map needs to be in the office with the city administrator. And we can leave it stated just exactly what it is, and you have the one in with the office.
No, bottom line, we have to wait for the state to come back to Jerome.
And it may be next year.
It could be.
I'm sorry?
I say, when they get back to him, it may be next year. And then it'll be changed again.
Well,
Thank you.
that's up to Mr. Simpson.
All right, well, have we beat up the map now?
Yeah.
Unless anybody else got questions about mapping?
No, I think the only other thing we were going to move on was just the bird.
We got Michael Silver, away. Sure is nice to see you, Tracy.
Where are we up to?
All right, we've moved on past the review map city, so now we're review revised charter documents. So basically, just go over any of the changes, which were the red marks that were made.
Well, the first one is the editor's note
Yeah,
on page 1.
Yeah.
right, and I
Which
can
Jerry
make,
was talking about. You know,
I can make that black. Again,
yeah, and I don't see where it needs to be changed. Myself.
okay,
Derek?
I'll
You
make
agree?
it black.
I'm good.
Okay, we're forward, no problem. Make it black.
We're on page 2 now,
Yeah.
Yes.
policies making.
Yeah, we did E.
And were we gonna make all of those simply say city administrator rather than slash manager?
I would leave.
I'd
city
leave them
administrator
slash
Okay,
manager.
perfect, that was my question. That's good.
The city commission, I might decide to make it a manager.
Okay,
I just leave it like it is. Because this could be here for 10 years,
Yep.
you know.
And 10 years from now, we may
and
change
they can
it.
give him the title, and it don't have to.
Doesn't
Right.
change
They
anything.
give it a
so
title,
And they
they
don't
don't
change
There
change
isn't
nothing,
any reason
it's
to.
there.
yep,
You know. And we used to stay down the road inside the gate, kiss, buddy, kiss, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, because we added E, didn't we?
Yes.
E
Yes.
is a new.
E is new.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on to 3.
Under 4.4?
Well, under
No,
4.02,
4.2.
Okay. well,
I think, Mr. Pence had emailed, he felt that the words that section there was written by, Mr. Smothers, and we voted to put it in as it's worded. And that's why it says take action, and so that's why it's worded exactly that way. That was the proposition he gave us at a meeting.
Did you guys get a chance to read the red lines that we added to our charter by chance?
I've never seen your charter, so.
Never seen our charter?
You sent me a copy.
Would you guys like them to see what?
Oh, I ain't got
added
no
to
problem, nobody
it?
looking at it.
Doesn't matter.
It's public
So,
record.
so the question is, does that read well? I didn't
Yes,
know if,
that's
I didn't
what
know.
was thinking.
Which one? Talking about the one you
Under
did?
Under
4.02.
4.02.
Yeah,
Under
that-
Mayor.
that
Should the
read-
commission take action on any?
It says, should the commission take action of any entity, blah, 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 blah,
Any entity.
take action that may affect the city and remote meetings or negotiation.
Just, you know.
Well, you got the
We
same
need
thing.
to-
Well,
Fine.
you're kind of repeating,
Yeah.
entities
Yeah,
of
how to-
3.02 or any entities of 3.02. It's kind of redundant.
Yeah.
Just take out the second or any
Well, I
entitled.
see the point he was making. Should those entities take action against, should the commission take action against them, or they take action against that affects the city? I feel like that
No, it needs to
period
stay
should
in
be
there.
there.
This needs to stay in there because.
It needs to stay in there, but it's an
You
incomplete
got
second.
one, yeah,
I
you
have a
got,
copy being printed.
yeah.
So where it says, and remote meetings or negotiations may be required, the mayor shall represent the city. I feel like that period needs to be
Be a
taken out.
comma.
Be a comma, you think?
Yeah, it should be a comma,
Should be a comma and a small t.
small t.
Okay,
Yeah.
comma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
comma, small t.
T.
And say this
So
does
then
not
it's-
prohibit the commission from giving direct instructions to the mayor, appointing or hiring outside consultants on that's good. But
The
if we just
the top
change
one, okay.
if we just change the period to a comma and a small t for the mayor.
Ricky, I got it. Yeah, he just forwarded it to me.
Okay.
Jerome was printing out
Okay.
the
Okay,
page.
I can go back and make that change.
all right.
When I read it, it didn't read as a complete sentence, so I was, but I think the taking action has to stay the way it is.
Okay.
You're on page 3.
Yes.
Yeah, we're on 7 now, right?
Okay, under
I got a
4.04,
question.
I got a question.
That's back on 4.0. In between, when you come out from behind the first section 3.02.
Mm-hmm.
Should that be a comma or should that be a colon?
I'm sorry?
On the first line where it
Yeah.
says 3.02.
I mean, because it,
Where you at?
on
He's on
3.02,
4.02.
or 4.02,
Okay.
okay, where you come by the first entities of section 3.02,
I think the comma needs to come out.
Yeah, the comma needs to go.
So, yeah.
okay.
So
I
we
was gonna
just-
say
Yeah.
a comma or a
Comma.
colon.
No, no,
I mean,
no.
a colon or the comma needs to go.
No, the
One
comma
of the
needs
two.
to go. Of any negotiation.
Remove this comma. Okay.
In section,
And then the comma after 3.02 on the next line.
and I think
Yeah.
shouldn't the word "and" be in there?
And or,
Yeah, and or.
I was,
Either
I
one.
was toying with that, but I don't.
Yeah, either
Should the
one.
commission take action with any of the entities in section 3.02 or any
of the
or.
entity.
let's,
And or any of
Do you
the
want to make-
entities in section
Should the commission
3.02.
take-
I never was.
so I think we should take that
Either
comma after
person
3.02 out
anyway.
in
Yeah.
both places, correct? That's what we're saying?
Yeah.
The first
The
3.02,
first
right?
comma.
What
The
about the
first
second?
comma.
What about the second
Or
3.02
any
comma
of the
take?
entities in section 3.02.
Take action, it should, that comma should go out too,
Yeah,
correct?
I think.
Shouldn't that be should take action that may affect the city?
Or should any of the entities in oh, I like that, or should.
Yeah, it should be, or,
Yeah,
yeah, it should be,
And then take out the comma after 3.02 before the word take.
yeah.
this thing in the world,
Okay.
we got a numerical. on it.
And then add the comma after the word required. And,
Yeah, required and comma after required and a
and
small t.
Small t. Okay,
Okay,
so that will,
that
so,
sounds better.
so theoretically, how that will now read. Should the commission take action with any of the entities in section 3.02, or should any of the entities in section 3.02 take action that may affect the city and remote meetings or negotiations? It should probably say be required rather than may be required.
You see?
The
We
mayor
said
shall represent the city. So see where it says
Maybe-
negotiation.
Maybe still needs to be there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because
Okay.
it doesn't have to be.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
I can do that.
I'm good there.
Okay. 4.04, where it says an ordinance,
Okay,
4.04.
4.04 under compensation. It says an ordinance established increase or decrease compensation of the mayor or commission. Instead of or, I think it should say and.
yeah, because they're the same,
They're the same.
yeah.
It says
see that?
right here,
An ordinance establishing increasing or decreasing compensation.
Of the mayor.
of
the
the
mayor.
mayor or commission, and I think instead of or, it should say and
Or it could
commission.
be and, yeah, and needs to go with the or.
Yeah, take out or and put and in there.
Got it.
Because they're all equal,
Yep,
and any compensation adjustments up or
Okay.
down would be across the
Across the
board for
board.
everybody.
Got it.
and then that's 4.06.
Under 4,
We didn't change nothing else. We went straight to 6.01.
Well, we changed that first.
No, no,
Term
under-
of office.
under 4.06, forfeiture, we've got term of office.
Under B, we changed it to has 3 unexcused absences from regularly scheduled commission meetings per term of office.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
Guys,
good.
think
Let's
about
roll.
that.
That's good.
I also,
Because we've changed the wording in our charter, which is different from just about every charter I've read.
Well, we gonna roll with
Everywhere.
it. We different.
I understand.
We
I
different.
understand.
Yes,
We
we
ain't,
are,
we
my
ain't like
friend.
nobody else. We different.
We definitely different.
We rolling with it.
Let's keep going.
I also have, under the next, in the next paragraph,
Okay,
Where you at?
Under excused absence shall mean an absent job, da, da, da. Second line, or the mayor, has provided prior, I'd like to see the word written. And I would like to see that because it protects every single commissioner up there. Because let's say we're all a commissioner, okay? And I call in and Jerome's mad at me that day and he doesn't bother to say, oh, she just never showed up. But if it's in writing, they're covered, the record's there.
Okay, can I say this? Can
And
I say this?
I just like
Hold
to
on,
see
go
it
ahead.
written.
Can I say this? All you gotta do, instead of writing, send him an email.
I understand that, but the way this is written, it doesn't say that it has to be in writing. They can pick up a phone and make a phone call.
And
But
that,
by putting
But-
the word
but here-
written,
yeah,
they're
but
sending an
I
email or they're
understand.
sending something tangible that could be
I understand that. I understand
brought
that.
back
But
to protect their butt.
there's a but. Because here's my thing. If I know I'm not gonna be here, I know in my mind, in my being, if Jerome liked me or not.
I understand that.
Okay.
Okay.
go ahead.
I'm just saying. We might be. Yeah. I'll stay out
I
of it.
take
Y'all
a
go ahead.
phone call because, I'll put it this way. Tonight, tomorrow's a commission meeting. I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that my son in Arkansas, my daughter in North Carolina, my grandkids, wherever they're at, something happened, they've been in an accident.
Yeah.
I'm in the car, I'm rolling, and I don't have a computer with me, okay? I do have my phone with me, so I can call and say, hey, I won't be there tonight, I'm gone.
And
Or
then
you
text
could
him.
send a
And then
text.
text him.
And I'm done.
And once you text him, there's no way to erase that text because you can pull
If
that
you
text
text
up.
it, because texting is in
That's
writing.
right. You text him, and it's record.
Exactly.
So then it
Yeah.
would be written.
It would be written, text,
Yeah.
written, whatever.
Yeah, but written, Miss Carey's saying paper.
No, it doesn't have to be
But that's-
paper. I'm saying just notification in writing of some form, a text, an email, anything.
Okay, now, how you gonna text, you know? Do you know his cell phone number?
I know the email to the office here. I know that,
I mean, but texting,
yeah, I get what you're saying, because texts go straight to
All you got to do is
And then
email
a
it.
cell phone.
Just email it to the city, and that's written.
But you can do that.
I'm not
from
gonna
a
worry
cell
about it, 'cause I'm
phone.
not gonna be sitting up there.
I'm just saying, it's very easy nowadays with technology.
Oh, yeah.
So are you for having the word written put in there, or are you for having the word written not in there? Now I'm confused about where we're standing. Sorry.
Hang on, let me look at something. Okay, Miss Carey, where are we at?
We're on page 4.
I'm there.
Okay.
I just don't want it to look like we're trying to do a little too much, and it doesn't.
I'm just looking at it it covers everybody. I'll give you an example, okay?
Go ahead and listen.
Okay. When you got put onto the PLDRC board,
Okay.
okay? And I made a presentation up there that Denise had 3 unexcused absences. And Denise came to me afterwards and said, Carrie, where'd you see that? And I said, right here in these minutes, here, 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 okay? And she looked at me and she said, I wasn't absent. That was Con and Mandy. They put it down that way and not as excused. Okay, I don't know. Maybe Con and Mandy did do something like that. I don't know if they did. But if she had had an email or a text or something,
That she could go back.
she
and-
could have said, hey, I sent an email to you. I have an excused absence.
Okay.
And that's where I'm coming from
I
with this.
understand where you're going, but when
You know.
when I hear the word written,
Written
that means
to me,
somebody doing this. Somebody writing. That's what written mean to me.
written just means text, email.
Written means something on paper. Look up the definition.
Which is,
Look up
which
the definition.
is a text or an email.
No, that's not written. That's
I see what you're
electronically sent. Come on now. Come on.
Well, if we're going to go by semantics, then we have to figure out a way if we want to put that in. Because I can see where perhaps it would have helped the person that you were talking about in that situation. Say,
Exactly.
here's proof that
Here's
I did
proof
this,
that I really-
rather than just verbal. I can see the point of it. It's a matter of what kind of semantics do you want to use. So it has been provided prior.
Okay.
I mean,
Could you say prior written or electronic notice? And then written or electronic would
Yeah.
constitute an email or a text.
true. If you want to get
But if we're
that technical to
if we
it, but
have to
yes.
go with semantics, then we have to go with popular semantics. If it's written, I can see where written would mean handwritten, and I
Yeah.
can see what you're saying where it should be. So it has to be either written or electronic documentation.
You guys have a,
Save us from ourselves.
You know my opinion.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
But it comes back to, I mean, you're putting something in the charter. I was always by the school of, less is best, especially the charter. Let's go back. That's something that we had in our adopted by councils, the part of their decorum, their administrative policy on how to run the meeting in there. In an excuse absence, and actually I just pulled this one, so at access. To pull excuse absence then was a commissioner or a council member prior to their absence would announce at the council that, hey, I'm going to be absent for this planned vacation or whatever. The council would acknowledge or vote on it. Unexcused absence was when they returned back to the council, they gave the reason that they were absent and it was determined excused or unexcused at that time by the council. So, but like I said, that was a little different.
So what you're basically saying is if a person,
would have to give prior notice, like Charlie did here.
if I know I'm going to be absent, then I should let the council know.
And yes,
If I know,
your
okay.
request to be excused absent for this
But
purpose.
if something comes up, there should be, you should make every effort to,
Well, we already say that.
yeah.
So that's just a
Yeah,
given.
you come back to the council, the next meeting you come to the council, you explain why you're absent,
Right.
and determine whether there's excused or unexcused.
Yeah.
If you're absent, you say, hey, I overslept the meeting, the council may say, hey, it's an
That's not
excused
excused.
absence. If you're on your way to
All
North
right.
Carolina.
I
because
Do we
you're
have
about an
anything
accident.
under?
Yeah. I understand what Ms. Carey want to do too. She wants to have,
But it holds them accountable why they were absent or not,
Right.
they just could be
right,
absent.
Well,
that's what
it-
she wants to do.
And it did.
I'm
It
looking
means
to
that you're
protect them. I'm looking to protect the commissioner who had that unexpected emergency come up that couldn't be at the meeting. Maybe, I know I'm not gonna be at next meeting and I tell you ahead of time. That's all well and good, but how many times does an emergency come up or somebody gets sick or whatever? It just, to me, it's just a way of protecting the commissioner.
Correct. And it holds them accountable as well.
Well, it holds
And
them
it
accountable and
On
it
both
just
sides.
protects them,
Mhm.
you know?
And then it would avoid, if we did put it in here and we did require written or electronic notice, then it would also prevent, but we did receive, if I'm not mistaken, Jerome, on this section, we did receive notification from the attorney that this section refers only to the commission. It does not refer to other boards, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
this strictly is
So-
the city
The
commission.
city commission should know that they have to do that. But
I guess
six of
it's,
one, half a
I
dozen
guess
of
it's a
another.
resolution or something that would have to
I
be
can-
written out.
I
So,
can read what the Edgewater one, and it's under attendance, and this is a policy adopted by resolution by the council, not in the charter.
It's
Right.
by resolution,
Resolution.
so we'd
Okay.
have to do a resolution for,
So let it go.
So that the city council may efficiently and responsibly carry out its duties, all members should make every effort to attend all scheduled city council meetings in accordance with section 3 point blah, blah, blah of the city charter. If a member of the city council is absent for 3 consecutive regular council meetings without being excused by the council, such member must forfeit their office. In order for the member to be excused, they must disclose their reason for absence either in writing to the city clerk prior to the meeting or personally described for the record at the next meeting they are in
To the
attendance.
meeting.
The city council shall vote to determine if excused or unexcused. A member of city council may request for consideration of vote for excused absence for any planned absence prior to beginning absence. If a member of the city council is absent for a 4th consecutive regular city council meeting without providing any written disclosure, the city clerk, the mayor, shall call for a vote to determine excused or unexcused absence for all previous undetermined absences.
Because I've never heard our commission vote or.
no,
if
we've
one of
never,
our commissioner members didn't come in, it was just more or less,
they didn't show up, but nobody knows why.
they never announced to the public why they didn't come or even
Yes.
discuss it, whether it's excused
No, they
or
don't.
unexcused or anything. What Terry just read.
So basically, if we go with what he just said, what we have in our charter now, considering all of this is in our charter, that's all in a resolution they have. So we've pretty much got a lot holding them accountable in the charter. We can probably just
So we could
assume
do a resolution down
a
there.
resolution could be done down the line. I'd say I leave it. Resolution later. I don't know what anyone else wants.
Fine with me.
And we also made a change in our charter as far as the councilman has 3 unexcused absence from regular scheduled commission meetings per term of office.
Yeah,
Right,
We took out
yes,
consecutive.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and that was okay.
the only section we've never done.
The only thing we haven't discussed is the elephant in the room.
Yeah, we've never gone into detail on 6 point duties,
6.02.
two, the duties. Because we've always been putting that off, so that might be something we take up at the next meeting, when everybody can be here.
Well, we did
No,
go through it at
we-
one point because we did make changes on F.
And we took
Yes,
stuff
we
out.
did. We did go through.
Yeah, we went through it.
We
but
went through
added-
it and made a
And
few
we
changes.
made some changes on F.
Yep, like we
Yeah.
added, we did something, we
Yeah.
took out 0.
Where is it?
Well, we did it under the top of duties,
Yeah.
under condone, we took out the words to be done. Under F, it was submit to the city commission and make available to the public a complete report on the finances and
Activity
administrative activities
to
to the commission
Commission
at the
on a
end of
quarter-
each
each
quarter.
quarter.
Yeah,
rather than, to make it more accountable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And then we
did
took
go
out
through it.
O.
Took
So we did go through.
completely out.
Yeah, we took O completely out.
And those were pretty much all the changes
And
we've
that was
made.
it. That was
Was
all.
there something that you wanted to add?
well, I turned around and was going back through the Lake Helens, and there were a lot of things that I noticed that they have in there that was far more detailed that aren't even addressed in here, like in our charter. And that was something that, but if everybody wants to leave it the way it is, leave
Well,
it.
once you finally,
Yeah, was there?
I mean, we make changes, but that don't mean we can't make other ones if there's need.
Well, for example, processing. We don't have anything. Lake Helen has in there processing and maintaining all official city documents and records and ensuring that all actions of the city commission are recorded, supervising and preparing and indexing of minutes, ordinances, and resolutions. We don't have anything in ours saying anything about it. Preparing reports and maintaining various property files. We don't have anything in ours saying anything about that. We don't have anything addressing seeing bid preparation, or preparing bids or attending bid openings and processing. We don't have anything on there. Let's see, of the city by submitting to the commission and public if requested a complete report on finances. Well, we kind of did that on each quarter.
Lake Helen is a bigger town than us.
It is, but I mean, if we're going over a job description per se, you know, I'm just looking at
But
the,
these are duties, not description.
Yeah.
well, basically it's listed as a duty in their charter too. So, I mean, it's just basically formality. The city including, okay, also, administering financial transactions of the city, including investments, withdrawals, and expenditures in accordance with the city investment policy, and adopting a budget upon the commission's approval, co-signing contracts on behalf of the city. You know, provision. These are all things that are in theirs that we don't have in ours that,
I remember in the past when Mr. Smollers was here, because he was very fluid on.
I know, Mr.
Yeah.
Smothers doesn't want to change any of it.
He mentioned that there was a lot of things that used to be in the charter, or there was things that didn't need to be in the charter because it was written somewhere else for the state.
It's implied is how he referred to it. It wasn't written, it was implied.
I don't want to adopt nothing with Lake Helen, be honest with you. Nothing to do with Lake Helen. Let Lake Helen be Lake Helen, and we be Oak Hill.
Well, I understand that, but I was just saying to clarify some of the duties.
Yeah, but we're not.
I mean, they're duties that I know Jerome already does, but it's not clarified. It's not in there as a duty.
Well, as long as he do all the duties that are in our charter now,
Fall in it.
It's
Pardon?
It would probably.
yeah, it's
Next
gonna
sheet
it's
you're
gonna
mentioning-
fall it's gonna fall into his job description. But I'm just saying, if you going to another city and trying to yank stuff out of theirs,
Well,
and put
we
it in
used it
ours.
as a comparison.
No, but I'm saying you comparing it, but you can't interject something in ours if we're not
Mr.
at the
Parker?
state.
Okay. You have to determine, some of the items she's talking about are addressed in codes of ordinances, not in charters. So you kind of got to go through and determine which ones will be placed in your code, and it may already be in your code of ordinances, and which ones really are the things that
Need to be in the
generate
charter.
into the charter. So that part of the question that, Terry, is that it's not that it's not right or wrong, is which document does it belong in?
Yeah.
Because as Tracy says, okay, charters, less is better. Code of ordinances, more is better.
And it could also be in his job description,
Correct. And you could.
okay? And that's where, in my thought process, that's where that would be, in the job description.
Right.
But do we have a job description for you, Jerome?
Yes,
We do?
yeah.
Oh, good. Could we see it?
Okay, the job description was put out when they
When they were
advertised-
hiring it, when they were hiring it.
advertised
For the job.
for the position.
Yeah, for the position.
Yeah,
I don't recall seeing that.
yeah.
Got a copy of it?
I know, I probably do somewhere,
I'd like to see it. I mean, if we got a copy of it, great.
but I
If
probably do
it's in
somewhere.
the job, if it's in a job description,
I
that's
don't know
all
that
we
it is,
need.
I'm just saying that could be in the job description. And then it doesn't have to be in the ordinances, it doesn't have to be in the.
Well, and that's
charter.
fine. If
It's
it's in
already
a
covered in the
job,
job description.
if it's in there, that's great.
Okay, the Charter Review Commission could make a recommendation to the commission. Okay, that these items be placed in another document. And I wouldn't say which one, because, you know, y'all would have to determine that. But, you know, but just think about what you're trying to do. This is the big picture. Doesn't include everything in the world. Matter of fact, the U.S. Constitution is very short.
Really?
It's got a lot of power.
A lot of power and very short.
Now, the laws are taking walls.
Yeah. Federal, state, county, local, and they keep growing.
All right, we've reviewed
I-
6. Is there, yes, you're in.
I had a question. So under M, under duties, it says, promote partnerships among commission, staff, and citizens in developing public policy and building a sense of community.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
What,
Thank you later, Ken.
I'm leaving you, I thought I was gonna leave you and you came with my hands.
Hey, Thank you.
Okay, if you need us, call me.
So M, promote partnerships, developing public policy and building a sense of community. We added under commission members, we added policymaking is the sole prerogative of the commission. City administrator, manager, whatever, is subordinate to the elected officials whose power derives from consent of all the citizens. So would M then be sort of not relevant anymore because that public policy is covered under the commission members? Just a question.
Thank you, Tracy.
Give me a call.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, good seeing you guys.
Thank you.
Do you see what I'm asking?
Okay, and you're referencing back to
I'm
which?
referencing it back to 4.01 commission members E that we added in. Only because it talks about the developing of public policy. That's my only question.
I can see being both.
Okay.
Okay,
I just wondered.
Because the city administrator is going to be involved in developing policy if they start asking questions.
Right.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's gonna be involved, but if you look at the commission meetings now, the mayor and a lot of them look over at Jerome and say, Jerome, what about this?
Okay.
Because he's gonna know more about the
Okay.
big,
Day to day.
the
Right.
big
Right.
thing that they're gonna
Okay.
know.
That was just a question I had as to whether that was like a duplication of duties because we're talking about developing public policy. I'm good with saying that's okie dokie.
But what is the and doing after the goal?
Where? What?
And-
Oh, I
and
don't know.
Sense of community and. Yeah, the
Oh,
and.
that's a good question. Who knows what that used to be? Hold on.
In the
Or
04.
did it mean,
Go back
or
to
did it ever
the
anything?
04. Hold on.
I think it might
I
have
can
just
find
been a
out.
follow on.
Go follow up to N. Yeah. Sense of community and perform such duties as are
Right, that's what I was thinking.
in this charter or may be required by the city commission. Now, and is a
So
precursor
you
to N.
basically take
Because
N
each
out
one of
and
these
add
roll
it as.
down. If
Yeah,
look,
you can-
each
Exactly.
one of them got a colon after it.
Yeah,
so that
you
means
can take
this
and
one,
out.
this one, that one, that
Yeah.
one, that
Take the word and
You
out.
can
I
take
would.
the word and out, and that won't confuse nobody.
Thank you. Okay, we're good with that. And then, oh, it's gone.
Yep.
All right.
Jerome's over at last minute trying to get our grammar straight.
Well,
It's all good.
grammar, it's, the existing.
It was the
The
existing
and,
word.
we haven't changed it.
Just trying to make it look legible and good.
And nothing else has been changed.
Yeah.
Nope. You're throwing things now, huh? First it was me throwing it at you, now you throwing it to me.
Okay, I reviewed the revised charter document, and your man will probably make the
I can take care of that.
And I would like to do it one more time. Maybe when we have Tom Finch here and Mr. Smothers. Let's go through it real quick, one more time, next meeting.
Make a motion.
Oh, you just
I will.
used real quick.
But I'm just looking for some people to say, yeah, they think that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Well,
We all,
might as
we all
well
gotta
start.
agree.
That's exactly.
We all gotta
Exactly.
agree that it's ready to go before the commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'll
maybe
look
have
at it.
Scott at the next meeting to see if he's got changes that
That we've missed?
that
Do
we
we wanna
missed
do
that he feels we can or can't do. We gotta have him at one of the meetings to
Anyway.
review. Anyway, so,
But we were still going to do a public.
Yeah.
well, maybe do a public one
That's where-
after Scott makes his recommendation.
That's where the discussion of whether we would have Scott before or after talking to public about the changes and any input that they would have.
I mean, we're not gonna make any changes if the public comes in and says, I want A, B, or C, we're not gonna be changing it.
No,
All of these meetings are open to the public.
they are.
Yeah,
Right.
so they can
They
come if
are
they wanna
open.
come. I wouldn't worry about the public,
I am
cause they can
only-
come if they wanna come.
Wait,
I'm only bringing it up because it was brought up in the beginning of this charter.
Right.
See all them chairs right there, big guy? Chairman?
what we need to do is just, we need to put it out one time.
And see
I
if
mean,
they
we'll Put
come.
it out here, put it out, public review. And I think that can be done next meeting, the next meeting, whenever we wanna do it. That's my opinion. And
See if they
if
show
we got
up.
anybody come, they come. If they don't, they don't. And we keep on moving down the road.
Because- Let me ask you this,
Yes.
don't we advertise
That's
it out there?
not, but not everybody goes south.
That's true.
Not everybody goes south.
So
It's on the website too.
what you're saying is a good idea. Perfect. Because you're giving them a chance to show up.
Right?
Now, if they don't show up, it's their fault.
That's it.
And we're gonna roll with
You
it.
know, and we're not gonna tell them we're gonna be giving out $1 million bills.
That's right.
You know, cause we do, we get a bunch of them here.
What? You
I'd
have
be
the whole
first
pot.
in line.
No, but that,
So-
we're gonna make a motion?
Or
Well,
we need to
just-
set the agenda for
Yeah,
next
we-
week or make a motion.
Just in case, and
Go ahead.
hi, me again. Just in case anyone wondered, so because I wondered, because I've never sat on a charter review committee, and I was able to find minutes that are available publicly, and most of our minutes all the way back to 2010, if you look really hard, you can find online. In July 16th, 2014, which would have been the last charter review, they held a special joint meeting, City Commission and Charter Review Committee. It was held in City Commission chambers. There are minutes available. I'm willing to let everyone look at them. At that meeting, not only was the public there, but city attorney was there. And the city attorney discussed things that he had wanted done, the charter amendment. There were people who made comments. People from different places talked about the charter. They voted, and then they presented this. Not only did the commissioners suggest verbiage, the city attorney suggested adding verbiage, and he also suggested why some of the verbiage wasn't included. And then at that meeting, the city attorney stated there will be 2 readings of the ordinance, because what happens is it all eventually becomes an ordinance that gets read and recorded with the city like this, that was done in 2008. But it does seem like the meetings are very easily done. Either, I don't know that we need to have a special joint meeting, but that's just one of the ways it was done in 2016, in case
I
anyone
think-
wanted to know.
I
Or
think
2014.
it doesn't necessarily have to be all of us, but the chairperson is gonna have to meet to answer any questions if the commission comes up with questions. Okay? And the chairperson should be the one that's answering them questions. Not me, not any of us out here, unless he turns to somebody and says, Carrie, can you answer that for him?
Right.
You know, that.
But we should be there to support them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's the one that's gonna be doing the talking, do all that stuff,
Exactly.
you know, and what, I'm getting way ahead of us. What I would do is I'd take all the red lines that we've done on this charter, I'd put it on projection.
How are we
Where I could
working
get
on them TVs?
But that's sort of
Jerome?
What's that?
Yeah, that is sort of ahead of where we are though right
Yeah,
now.
but what I'm saying, that way he can talk each one of them,
Yeah.
line by line.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can
So,
So,
have a high
Okay,
point.
so everybody can see it. But like I said, I'm way ahead of where we're at.
if we do invite the public, like you said, we could also make that probably the same day to have the attorney here, because if some public people do show up and have some questions or
That we
answers,
can't answer.
that's right, he's there to answer it, and boom, we're done all in that day.
That's a good idea.
Because we're
That's a good
doing
idea.
it again, like you said.
Yeah.
We got the attorney here to answer any questions and fix whatever we need to fix. And the same with, if there's questions from the public, which can be added, and the attorney can yay or nay also on the changes. That way, it's all done in one shot.
So if we're gonna do that joint meeting with the attorney and with the public and make it an opportunity for a larger meeting, would we also then make the meeting not at 3 in the afternoon,
No.
maybe a 6 o'clock meeting, so that people could attend it more easily, and then you
12
could come.
o'clock, make it 12 o'clock midday. I'm clowning.
I'll tell you,
7 o'clock in the morning, so nobody gets up, right?
RC meetings are 10 o'clock in the morning, man.
Yes, sir.
You know why they're at 10 o'clock in the morning when nobody be here? All it says is you can't start
Before
10 o'clock.
7. Yeah.
I was
know.
just thinking, being accommodating to,
Yeah,
It does need to
that's
be
a good
absolutely
idea.
accommodating.
If we make it at 6 o'clock, everybody's home, everybody's good. Charlie done ate his dinner, he can come, and
Yeah.
and nobody will
exactly.
have no excuses
Then what do you want to do?
when you come back.
Well, that'd put us into June.
that puts us way too far.
That puts us too far
Well,
out.
let's
That's
have
gonna put
it.
us
Let's
too
have it.
far
In,
out.
let's have it in 2 weeks.
What's wrong?
That's what I was gonna suggest, have it first of May.
What's wrong with next Monday or Wednesday?
Well, next week's the 24th.
Yeah, let's have it in 2
Because
weeks.
we're at that point though.
Yeah.
We are at that point,
We're at that point to do it. So if we're lined back up with next Wednesday to come here, right now we got nothing to talk about until we do what we're saying.
Right.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
so do we wanna make the meeting on the 24th here at City Hall at 6 PM and see if Attorney Simpson can be here, and then make it open to the public for comments?
He's checking now.
And also then the city commission has to be here
No,
for
they
it as
don't.
well.
They don't have to be here.
Not on that one.
Not on
Not
that.
on that one?
No.
Not on that.
That's not gonna be the presentation to the
No, not to
commission?
them, because that's the,
We just
because
get-
that's,
we
this
just
gives
get
us an
opinions
opportunity.
and questions and
Okay.
answers.
And it gives us an opportunity to have people come in and say, well, we prefer you to do this, why aren't you doing this? It gives the attorney the opportunity to address things that say, talk to Scott Simpson. There's several notes.
That's the bug.
Now,
And then-
Scott will step
and then-
in and tell them we can't do this,
Right.
we can't
And
do
then
that.
we can go back and make the final changes, and once we make those final changes and adjustment with any suggestions from the people who come, then we can take it to the city commission after that. And that would be
Or
the
we can have
idea.
the joint.
Either way.
Well,
Either the 24th or the 1st. is when
I think
need
we
to
should
have it.
just go ahead and get it knocked out. If we go
Let's
ahead
see
and do it next Wednesday.
Yeah, see if Scott can be here, and we'll
And-
put it out there.
At what
So
time?
change,
6 o'clock.
next Wednesday to 6 PM.
Well, since Jerome can confirm that he's available to come here at 6 o'clock next Wednesday,
Well-
that will confirm it.
I just know that that's gonna throw Jerome behind the 8 ball.
For what?
Well, because next Monday is city commission meeting.
Man, Jerome
Yeah,
can
that's
handle
the
it.
8th.
And it's next.
Jerome got this.
Yeah, but you're freeing up 2
I know
hours,
Jerome got, I'm thinking,
but
he
you're
lives
freeing
in
up,
Sebastian.
but you're freeing up 2
Okay.
hours of his day.
But think about all these Wednesdays we're saving right now by getting it done that's planned out for the next 2 or 3 months that we already have in place.
But that's in his regular work schedule.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking of him and his home life.
Right.
So
That's
what-
all I'm
But
trying to
he'd
think.
also
But the
rather have those
public
2
can't
hours in the
come at
afternoon.
3 o'clock in the
Well,
afternoon.
yeah, so
The
eight-
public
eight
can't come.
lights here versus
If the
one.
whole point of it is to have a public meeting, you want the
whole point
public
is a public
meeting to be at a time that the public can come.
We
Jerome,
can't accommodate everybody, Charlie.
Is it gonna be a problem if we can get it done next Wednesday at
Or are
6
you gonna be
o'clock?
here, you go on vacation, ain't you? Sometime,
I'll be here. Vacation is in May.
okay.
Okay, so doing this now would be better than waiting until that first week or so of May,
Right.
because you'll be here. Just,
Quicker we get this done, the quicker we can
Oh, I'm not,
Okay,
I'm
well
not
then-
disagreeing.
Okay,
I get it, because once we're done as a committee, then it goes to the commission to do their announcing, and it's all in their hands from that point on.
Right.
We've done our job.
right, and so
Yeah,
the
you'll
sooner,
have one more.
the sooner we pass this to the commission, the sooner it can be put into the ballot and into the verbiage of the ballot, and
It gives
I mean,
the
we don't
attorney
even know
time
if we
to-
have to
If we
type
do
that up
this
or
on the 17th, is it realistic to even say that at the commission meeting on the 22nd, you couldn't make your presentation to them at that point? Or does it have to be a separate meeting strictly with the commission and the review board?
I think,
It doesn't have to be. It could be an item on the agenda.
That's what I'm saying. Could it then be on the agenda at the public meeting that Ricky makes his presentation to the commission about what has been changed?
But you didn't say it was a joint meeting. Is that
Right.
a joint meeting?
no.
No.
No, that
Next
would just
week-
be adding it as an agenda item.
Yeah.
The problem is, Jerome, how long did the last meeting run? 2 hours and 55 minutes?
Till like 9
So to add this into an existing, I want y'all to think about it, to add this into an existing agenda, when the agendas are already running 2
Well,
hours
I
and
wouldn't add
55
this-
minutes.
I don't want our charter review meeting to be added to the
I say
regular
we-
Monday meeting. I want this to be a separate
I
Wednesday
say we
meeting.
do the public
Yes.
and
So-
Scottson,
Yes.
I make a motion that we decide that on the 24th at 6 p.m., we have a meeting here open to the public to give us suggestions and with the attorney to give us direction to go forward
Without
with this.
changes.
On the
With our change-
17th, not the 24th.
17th, I don't know, no, today's the 17th.
It's the 24th.
Today's the 17th,
Oh,
it has
God.
to be on the 24th, I can't do this today too. So that was my motion,
I get it.
whatever I said, Derry. Someone second.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck figuring out what I meant, Cheryl.
Me and Daryl got, cause we both, Derry, we both seconded.
Exactly.
The motion is to have the meeting on the 24th
At 6 p.m. with the attorney and the public. Yes,
Correct.
Who seconded?
they did.
We all did actually, so.
There you go.
Don't take your money.
They did it. Pick someone.
All right, I'll reach out to Scott, that he's available.
Sure.
And I'll let you know.
Okay.
And that's our next,
That's next Wednesday,
That's-
yes.
Our agenda for the next meeting.
So 6 o'clock next week.
Yep.
Yes.
And honestly, there's nothing else for us to review until we can set this up. So if you can't do it, then we'll postpone until we can.
I get, I mean, that seems like where we are. We've gone through it, and
I'm sure Scott can make concessions for us.
I'm
$200
sure,
an hour, he'll be here.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will do it just because
Okay.
he wants
Are
to
we-
see this
are we-
progress.
Charlie, you gonna make a
Magic
motion?
words?
to adjourn?
Go ahead.
What?
I didn't call you go ahead, I said go ahead.
I heard you.
Have a motion to adjourn?
Motion
Motion
to
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned. 4:43.
And all